Hello, Rockcape here. This is my video guide for beginners on how to make energy credits initially in Star Trek Online. Thanks for checking me out. Let me know if any of it helps you. I'll start with the easy to manage tips and move on to the big money makers. Please remember, if you're free to play, you have a limit of 10 million credits, unless you buy the energy credit cap increase from the Zen store. A lot of people would recommend throwing down the money to sub for a month. This will give you bonuses and 500 Zen to buy the increase once your month is up. Well, the first thing I usually tell my friends, if they want to get the starter cash, it usually consists of finding useful vendor items and selling them on the exchange. From Ensign Lesser, you can buy tech upgrades. You can buy all sorts from her really, but for this example I'll show you tech upgrades. Buy whichever tech upgrade you fancy. They cost 10,000 each. Buy say 5 or so. Then make your way over to the exchange. In the exchange, they generally go for at least 15 to 20,000, depending on which one you buy, which can net you a nice little profit. Let's look at, I'll hit basic and search, and you can see the cheapest one is basic beams for 15,000, and cannons then for 18.5, and it just goes up then, depending on what you're after. You can also do this with the manual training vendor, as a lot of people don't even know he exists, and they generally only buy their manuals from the exchange. Also be on the lookout for any items needed in duty officer assignments. Provisions not so much, but you can get stuff like Saurian brandy and stuff like that can go for a lot of money, and you can buy all from vendors. The same with fleet project items you might need. For my second tip, I'd have to say generally anything you pick up while on missions and floating around in space can be sold, if not to the exchange, but to vendors or your replicator. If you go to your replicator first and hit recycle, you can see the price that things are worth. So this armor is worth 3,652 credits. I can sell it there, fine. I can also hit right click it, discard, it'll give me that replicator price. Or if you go to a vendor and hit them up, then you can sell it to them for more money. You get 50% by selling it to a vendor of what the item's worth. As you can see the value there, 9,130. Or 40% if you just use a replicator. This tip will come in really handy if you want to make a little bit more cash on the exchange by buying stuff that are worth less than half their price. Also, if you empty your bags completely and do the fleet action of Starbase 24, if I can find it, by there, if you create a private game, it's pretty easy to complete, and there's so many enemies, you find tons of stuff, and it can be worth up to 200, 400,000 easy. For tip 3, there's a daily which is called Tour the Galaxy. You can find this in your available mission list. Scroll down to JM. I've still got 40 minutes left on mine. But with this mission, he sends you to go searching different planets. So basically, you have to fly to different specific planets on the map, and you get 25,000 credits for each planet you find. You have a 15-minute time limit, and you can generally net at least 400,000 up to just shy of 1 million. Once you've done it a few times, you'll figure out what route is best for your ship, but you'll probably also want to hold on to any fast warp drives you find, so you can complete as many as you can. Make sure you're in space before you accept it, or you'll have that whole loading time to deal with. And I'd probably also recommend following a route guide to complete it. While doing missions, you'll come across anomalies, which by scanning will allow you to collect ores, such used in crafting. This is all the stuff I've currently got. There's usually 3 anomalies per map, and they'll usually give you stacks of 2 to 5, of a single item each. If you keep hold of these until you reach later levels, you can amass hundreds of different ingredients. I usually go to the exchange then and compare what I have to whatever's on the market and sell stacks of 10 or 20 at a time, and with this you can net a few 100,000 per stack of 10 or 20. So with 400 odd you can make loads of cash this way, or you can keep them for crafting. You also get R&D resource boxes when you complete a group instance, and these contain large amounts of these materials as well. Once you reach level 15, you unlock the crafting system known as R&D, as I previously mentioned. This is a huge money maker in game, and you should work on upgrading your schools right away. I'd recommend upgrading beam technology first, as it will help your end game with crafting beam weapons and the items you can probably sell the quickest. In order to get what you need from each school, you want to get them to level 15 or so, which takes a long time. But to quicken the leveling, you can scroll all the way down to the bottom of each project and you get Research Project Beam Technology. And you can start that off and that'll net you 6,000 or so XP a time, and you can research up to 3 of any school at a time. As you level any school, you'll gain access to crafting better upgrades, and these sell like hotcakes in the exchange. As crafting is so important, it's a good idea to look around the internet for the current popular builds people like to use and just craft any item that meet the demand, since others will also have looked at the build and gone, "Man, I must try this out." The most common builds right now are probably anti-proton, disruptor or phasers. In order to make the most cash, it's recommended you make Mark II beam weapons and primarily look out for weapons with the pen mod and crit damage, as they're considered the most valuable. Once you make these, you can either upgrade them or sell them as they are. When it comes to ship equipment, I like to make Mark II versions of them, then upgrade them to 12 or 14 to sell at higher prices. I say it's best to start at Mark II, as each time you upgrade, you have a small chance of increasing the rarity, but it does get harder past Mark 7 as you need more upgrades and the lithium per mark increase. My final tip for any beginner making money for this game is probably the most mentioned, you'll see it everywhere on Google, is by buying currency with real money, known as Zen. You can buy master keys used for lockboxes. These keys will generally sell for 6 million each on the exchange. If you like to gamble, you can open boxes yourself and sell the contents, but as a newbie, it is not advised since the risk far outweighs the reward, as ships have like a 0.04% chance to drop, or something ridiculous. And for anything else you may receive, you probably don't know its true value, so again, don't bother opening the boxes. That is it from me. Hopefully I've helped some of you who may have stumbled across this video. If you have any other tips, stick them in the comments. If you'd like to check out my other videos, I generally make co-op stuff, so I'd really appreciate it if you check it out. Live long and prosper.